the CEO of Grand Theft Auto 5 has thrown some serious shade at Google Stadia. Well, maybe it's not serious shade, but here's the bottom line. He has basically said what we are all thinking, that Google Stadia is a pretty massive disappointment. And I think we can all agree on that. But first of all, hey everyone, this is Kevin, your entrepreneur. Welcome to my vlogging/media channel. And we are going to take a moment to discuss these comments on Google Stadia from the Take-Two, I think it's Take-Two CEO. I haven't played Grand Theft Auto. It's funny, like I used to know all these, no, Rockstar. Is it Rockstar? Is it Take-Two? And I think there was a time when, before I was married, I could actually just, name off all these companies at the drop of a hat. Just funny how time changes. But anyway, so if you've been following my main channel, you'll know that I have a very complicated relationship with Google Stadia. I actually like the service. I think it's kind of cool. But before I tried it, I was against the idea on a philosophical level. Still am. However, since then, I have since tried it with the free Pro subscription. I've even bought a couple games on Stadia, and I've gone on to Cloud Gaming, Extreme and Cloud Gaming X a couple times to talk about Stadia. I think they like talking to someone who is not entirely for the system. It, provides a very interesting dynamic. And while I think I would like Stadia to succeed, I don't ultimately think it will. I think it has too much going against it. And with the recent announcement that Steam will be adding cloud gaming as a feature to their service, I think Stadia is even in more dire position. But I'm not the only one. It's not just fans. This is the CEO of the Grand Theft Auto 5 publisher saying something about Stadia, and it's not entirely flattering. And when you see key people like this, and look, you don't have to like this guy. I don't like this guy. I think he's one of the bad representations of what game CEOs should be, pushing monetization and loot boxes and things like that. So I have issues with him. But when he is a key person in this industry, heck, he is one of the guys who, controls the flow of the games. This is the kind of guy you want to keep happy if you're going to have a successful platform. So that speaks volumes about what's being said. So so here's what he said. Streaming technology is upon us. The launch of Stadia has been slow. I think there was some overpromising on what the technology could deliver and some consumer disappointment as a result. Over time, I believe streaming will work. The belief that streaming was going to be transformative was based on a view that there were loads of people who really had an interest in interactive entertainment, really wanted to pay for it, but just didn't want to have a console. I'm not sure that turned out to be the case. Now, there is a lot being said in this thing. So first of all, right from the get-go, he acknowledges that the streaming technology is upon us. But he also says that the launch has been slow and over-promising. That was the big thing about Google Stadia. They promised it's going to be 4K right out of the box. Everything's going to be this. You're going to do this. And it's going to be on all these phones and all these technologies. And they have made videos about all the things that were promised at the launch of Google Stadia that did not end up becoming a reality. And that's just a fact. I'm sorry. I know a lot of you who are Stadia fans would like to think that wasn't what the case was. That is what the case was. Sorry to say that. But anyway, he then goes on to say that, he believes streaming will work. And I believe it will work too. Now that I have actually tried Stadia, in fact, I've done several live streams on my other channel about that very thing, I believe it can work. It's, I still prefer my physical media. I still think a console will provide a much better experience than anything streaming will do. And also, you don't have to worry about that total bandwidth, issue. That is an issue. But here's his comment, and this is I think the most damning thing that was said about Stadia. The belief that streaming was going to be transformative was based on a view that there were loads of people who really had an interest in interactive entertainment, really wanted to pay for it, but just didn't want to have a console. I'm not sure that turned out to be the case. And it's interesting because a couple times that I talked to my friends over at Cloud Gaming X, one of the things that Ace brought up was that the potential for Stadia is much, much bigger than a console. Because, hey, you don't have to spend the $500 to invest in the console. You don't have, in some cases, you don't even have to subscribe to the subscription service if you don't want to, unless you are going to be a regular customer and want the discounts and the free games and stuff. And hey, you can just buy a game and you can play it on any device. You don't need these special things. And here's the thing, on the surface, that sounds like a very compelling argument to make. But in reality, that's just not how it works. Yes, in theory, that's what could happen, but we don't see it actually playing out. Like, if that market was there, as Zelnick says, that people, hey, they've wanted interactive entertainment for years. It's just paying $400 for an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4 or even $300 for a Switch. It's just too big of an entry. But hey, it's like, and if it was just like, hey, we could just hop on and just buy like one game and play it, then we'll be good. That did not turn out to be the case. I mean, game publishers point to the mobile market as like, see, this is why things are going to the mobile market. Look at how many people download Angry Birds or Bejeweled or something like that. But these are simple games. Like, there's a reason Tetris was popular on every system, because it's a very simple game that even people who don't typically play games can get into. Also, mobile games are free to download. So it's very, very different when you go to an average person and it's like, hey, do you want to play Assassin's Creed? Like, that's very, very different because Assassin's Creed is on Stadia. So let's say someone was always interested in Assassin's Creed. They saw the previews and stuff. Okay, they're interested, but they don't want to buy a game console. Oh, now they can buy it on Stadia. Let's just buy the game on Stadia. Well, okay, now you buy the game, but then how do you play it? Is it with a keyboard, a mouse? I think technically you could, but it's difficult. Well, it's probably best if you get a controller, and then you have to have the time. It's not as simple to get in and out of. You don't play Assassin's Creed for 10 or 15 minutes when you're on the train. You don't. But Angry Birds, yeah, you just flip the birds for a little while. You flip the birds for a little while you're on your break or while you're, on the John doing number 2. And then you stop. But you don't play a game like Assassin's Creed or Tomb Raider or Final Fantasy 15 like that. You just don't. So, here's the thing. I think what this guy's saying, and here, keep in mind, he's not saying he isn't going to support Stadia. I think he absolutely will. But he is saying what I think we all know, and what I think, if you are a big fan of Stadia, you need to acknowledge at this point. That Stadia is cool. It's nice. It's not going to deliver. It probably will not deliver what it has been promised. And as I talked about on the podcasts that I went on, you know what? Once the other companies are doing both cloud gaming, streaming, and download gaming, like local gaming, they are offering basically players the way to play however they want to play. But Stadia is putting all of its chips on one thing: cloud gaming, streaming. That's all they're doing. And they're not. And gamers have been pretty vocal about, hey, if I buy the games, I want an option to download it at some point. Because, hey, you know what? Yeah, Final Fantasy 15, cool game. I don't always need to be streaming a game that is that fancy. So, anyway, that's where we're going to leave this one. What do you think? Do you agree with Zelnick here, or do you disagree? I'd love to know. Comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. And as always, flame responsibly. Stay safe out there.